Right, let's crack on. James Cleverly has announced today that the radical Islamist group Hizb ut-Tahrir will be prescribed as a terror organisation banned by the British government. The group sparked outrage after repeatedly calling for jihad on British streets while celebrating the Hamas attack on Israel back in the 7th of October, and has previously been banned in Germany, China of all places, and the majority of Arab nations, believe it or not. But with views like these, you can understand why.
The only solution is jihad by the armies of the Muslim countries. Not by you and me, who we, what training do I have? There are people with arms in Egypt, in Pakistan, in Saudi Arabia, in Jordan, across the Muslim world.
Lovely bunch of lads. It's worth noting that Labour leader Keir Starmer voluntarily led a team of lawyers to the ECHR back in 2008, arguing that Germany's prohibition of Hizb ut-Tahrir breached their rights to freedom and religion of expression. Kelvin Mackenzie joins me now. Has it taken the British government too long to act here? Can Keir Starmer be trusted when it comes to people like that?
Well, it's not only Keir Starmer that refused to do anything about that group. Blair turned it down when they suggested it. Cameron turned it down. So let's give credit, and he doesn't get much credit these days, to Rishi for at least standing up against this groupage. Starmer on a series of issues, that will be one of them. There will be loads of them. As DPP, as a QC, will have been acting free and gratis on occasions against what I think is the very interests of our nation. But for some inexplicable reason, the voters right now, as that shocking polling which you've been talking about, right, don't seem to embrace the mistakes that he's made in the past and the shocking mistakes I'm sure he's going to make in the future.
Yeah, and also as well, there's a couple of issues that I'm very worried that we're not able to trust the Labour Party on. It brings us on to whistleblower Maggie Oliver, who discussed at the start of tonight's show. An independent review has today highlighted a series of shocking failures by authorities over the Rochdale grooming gang scandal. Over the course of nearly a decade, Greater Manchester Police, Rochdale Borough Council left hundreds, if not thousands, of vulnerable children at the mercy of ruthless paedophile grooming gangs, the majority of which were British Pakistani men. The suspects were overwhelmingly British Pakistani, while the victims were mainly white girls from poor backgrounds. Kelvin, did a fear of appearing racist contribute to the authorities' failure to act here?
100%. There was a period, actually I think that period has probably passed now, but there was a period where actually everybody was saying, I'll tell you what, it won't do my career any good if I get involved in all this kind of stuff. There's a lot of people of a different religion and they all start campaigning against me. I mean, it happens in teaching, so why wouldn't it happen in the police force and or the local council? And also the local council had a number of members of that community who were sitting on it.
You're talking about, obviously, the British Muslim community.
The British Muslim sitting on it. So obviously, you know, they're going to act for their own, as we have seen actually going on the streets of London and elsewhere. So, but honestly, the thing that I honestly lifted my spirits about all this was that a whistleblower, right, sacrificed their careers, right, in order to fight to expose this. Exactly the same thing happened in the post office. So there are good people out there, right, who, despite the fact that everything could go crashing around them, knew that something was wrong at the heart of it all and crashed their way through it. Our country should be so proud of the Maggies and the Mr. Bates of this world who are prepared to stand up and fight against this kind of almost, you know, this huge blob of people who say, oh, don't do anything, it'll cost your career, it will cost your livelihood. How brave are those people? Honestly, I felt really powered up for them. And the fact is that that lady, she's spoken to you, and she's spoken to others today, is still saying that there are hundreds of children who are going to be abused and are being abused. What about this report? That report said that there were 96 adults. They didn't identify them, but there were 96 adults out there who were still
when the Telford grooming gangs got, by the way, it's important to say that no doubt local councils will refute the fact that they did not act on this based on their religion. So there we go. When it comes to some of the victims in this, I've spoken to victims of Telford grooming gangs who bumped into their attackers at the shops. They get released back out into community, 2 or 3 years. We're talking about people who've been convicted here of raping, like, tens of young underage girls. The sentences, and we can't deport them. We can't deport some of them.
Well, in the Rochdale one, they ended up they ended up charging one of the girls who had been raped by... it was a joint charge. It was madness. There was madness going on there. It's not often I would say it, but I'm grateful for Burnham for organising the inquiry in the first place.
All right, Kelvin, look, thank you very, very much. That is Kelvin Mackenzie there.